Hey, everybody, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And the other guy, Don.
Yes, the nerd on vacation
Uh,
in an
Indeed,
undisclosed location.
indeed.
We are here to talk about, of course, the Fantastic Four first steps. And we got a couple articles tangentially related. Some news about some people upset about the movie, and we'll get into that. And then a couple of articles related to Doomsday um, that are kind of interesting. I think the one's a stretch, and the other one is
Ah,
that's not a Fantastic Four reference, and the other one's a little. The other one's true, but a little concerning. So we'll get into all of that. But before we do that, Don, how are you? Obviously, you're not at home. You've been traveling.
yep.
What's up with you?
Yeah, like it says, I'm on vacay. I am on an undisclosed location near our nation's capital, which I will actually be visiting during this week, as I've never done that before. So I figure I might as well go see it before it all crumbles into ash. Um, Other than that, saw a comic book movie that I'm sure we're going to talk extensively about. I'm excited for that. But yeah, hey, no work for the next 7 days outside of my wonderful work here with you, sir. So
Wow.
glad to be here. How about you? How has your since Wednesday been?
Let's see. Uh, okay for the most part. Got I got some interesting news from my daughter on
Oh,
Friday. Um, so I for medical reasons, her mother-in-law needs to move in with them because she has MS and she's gotten really bad. And so
okay,
my son-in-law is like, well, move in with us. We'll take care of you.
sure,
Which then turned into, well, then they've got to find a new place that can accommodate her, where like the bedroom and the bathroom are all on one floor.
yeah,
Um, and then of course they have to sell. The plan was they're going to sell their house, and my mother-in-law, or not my mother-in-law, her mother-in-law, who owns her house outright, doesn't have a mortgage. The thought was, well, they'll sell that house, and then they'll have more than enough money to cover another house.
yeah,
And because the housing market's crazy, as people
yeah,
know, things are getting more and more expensive every day. Um, so so long story short, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's we're probably looking 3, 4, 6 months out before anything. She calls me on Friday and goes, we found a place and we put a bid in on it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And you drove through this lovely state today, and she's like, it's in York. I'm like, what? So for those who don't know, that's almost mid Pennsylvania. It's a good 2 hour drive
oh
from where I
boy,
live. So that's gonna make things interesting. No more asking me to
yeah,
stop by to babysit. And
right.
uh, so we'll
Dave's
see.
daycare is gonna, have some slots open here soon, I guess.
Now she said we'll schedule monthly visits and whatnot.
Sure.
So we'll see, but it's tough when you have adult children
Yeah,
and they have to make adult decisions that affect your ability to see your grandchildren. It's a little upsetting. So,
I bet. Yeah,
yeah, but I mean, it's probably what's best for all of them. So I'm not gonna. She showed me the listing. It's a really nice looking house.
yeah,
It's on almost a whole. They have like almost a whole acre, so huge yard. She told me that there's a horse stable across the street, and there's like you can't see your neighbors, or you're that far apart kind of neighborhoods. I'm
yeah.
like,
Nice.
yeah, all right, it's probably better for the kids, but you know
But yeah, that sucks. I mean, I'm not a grandparent. My oldest is 16,
yeah.
so I'm not living that life yet. But you're right. If like my daughter gets married, and this and she has to move, friggin' across the country or hours away, it's just gonna chat my ass a little bit. So I get what you're coming from.
Yeah. So, but other than that, yeah, I saw a movie on Saturday with my girlfriend that you texted me at 8:45 in the morning to tell me about. I'm like, who the fuck's texting me this early? Oh, it's Don. Uh,
Oh, it's Don. He's on the pooper. Okay. That's what
now you made it
he's
worse.
bored. Yeah.
Yeah, and um, oh, I didn't create a tag for it yet, but I did want to do real quick. Here's an update on Superman as of this live stream. Current budget current gross worldwide is $502.7 million. So they were saying it needed to make between 5 and 700 to be profitable.
Mm-hmm.
The estimate's still 800 million before it leaves the theater. So it does feel like that's still possible, even with Fantastic Four being out. And we had actually had a comment on one of our videos, on one of our shorts that we put out here on the YouTubes. Someone was like, Man of Steel made 670 million. Everyone keeps saying that number. This movie will be lucky if it makes 500. Well, there you go. Luck be on their side. They made 500.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think they're gonna make their money. So but yeah, we're not here to talk about Superman. I just wanted to say that because screw you guys. It's a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
So
All day.
yes.
And plus, Man of Steel doing that much again. I always feel like I'm throwing this out there every week, but that was pre-COVID,
Yeah.
pre-streaming. Like a whole different world, man.
It was a different world, and it was like there, like, people forget there wasn't much going on yet. We
Right.
didn't have the MCU yet. We didn't have the explosions. That was the first DCEU movie,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone ran out to see it because it's Superman, and they wanted to see what it was like, and everyone still went to the movies all the time back then. It was pre-streaming, I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, like, exactly. It was a different world, but I do think it's not Man of Steel, Superman is going to make its money. But on that note, let's take a quick break and have our good friend Dark Don tell you how you can find more superhero speak.
Darth Don here. You must subscribe to Superhero Speak if you haven't already. And if you have already, make another account and subscribe again. You also will like this video. And while you're on the HoloNet, go to superheroespeak.com. Find the links to our merch and purchase one of our shirts. Don't skimp on the shipping, or else I will trap you in a box with an agitated gundog named Brie Larson. I would just force lightning you, but we don't have that in the effects budget. Now, back to the show.
Quick note on that, I actually forgot to mention it before this. One, I have been keeping up with putting the show out back on the podcast circuit, so hopefully, if you were a fan, we weren't there for a while, so I don't know how many people are listening. I haven't checked the numbers. So hopefully you're catching up on that, and we are in the middle of switching our t-shirt vendor from Spring to TeePublic. We've got our first design up on TeePublic, but I haven't included the links yet. That will be hopefully by Wednesday's episode. We'll have that all finished. But we do have plans to maybe get buttons and stickers and bring them to New York with us and hand them out to all you lovely people who come up and talk to us, or hot cosplay girls, one or the other. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see who gets them first. And also, go and buy, go maybe try buying something from Spring, or maybe next week, or next show, Teespring. T Public, but because we're not currently running ads on this live stream, because the last couple times we've run ads while we're doing the live stream, weird things have happened and the show locks up on the stream because I monitor it over here on my tablet while we're talking. So yeah, we should. We need help financially, so go click on the link, buy a T-shirt today. All right. On that note, let's get into some news, and we're going to start off with, of course, we're talking about the Fantastic Four First Steps, and there are fans online. I thought this was so funny, that are upset because there are scenes that were in the trailer that aren't in the final movie, and like I saw that, and I'm like, well, that just seems weird, right? Because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So like, but like somebody said that thinking about the scenes that have been cut from the movie that are in the trailer, the movie would have been about 20 to 30 minutes longer.
Yeah.
And so like, what was it like? I'm trying to think of some of the scenes. Let me see if it says it in the article real quick. That's what it was. That was one of the main things. John Malkovich's character, Red Ghost, was completely cut from the movie. So I'm guessing that's what happened, was when they made the decision to cut the character, they probably had to cut around a lot of stuff that his character was in. And there's also a scene in the trailer, the original trailer, I don't remember, they're like giving someone a tour of the Baxter building. Reed and Sue are like walking them around or whatever. Like, that's not it at all. But I kind of feel like Marvel has a history of filming stuff that is just in the trailer and not in the final movie. Like, they've done it over and over again. And I think there's several reasons why. And I think the next article we're going to talk about kind of hints at that. But I also think it's just like, maybe they realize that a character's not working and they decide to cut the character, and then they have to like shoot around it, change things up, and cut things out of the movie, So I'm sure that they will probably be on the DVD or on the streaming service as in the bonus features of the cut scenes, and we'll see. But I don't know. It didn't affect my, like, I wasn't watching the movie going like, wait, where's the tour that was in the trailer?
Yeah.
Where's John Malkovich? Like, I didn't think that at all. What, did you miss anything that you saw in the trailer?
No. And like you said, Marvel does this quite often. So to be upset by it at this point is a little sus. But I appreciate, because I wasn't clamoring for John Malkovich. The only John Malkovich character I've ever clamored for never happened. He was supposed to be the Vulture in the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4. And I thought, oh, that's cool as hell. Okay. But outside of that, I'm not clamoring for John Malkovich. I'm not clamoring for a tour of the Baxter building. I felt like we got a pretty good tour without them, just being in our face about it. And I also appreciate the fact that the movie, I felt, was a really reasonable runtime. Particularly since I took children. And, I think they made the right decision there. And no, I'm not clamoring for what we're missing. So I'll talk about this a little bit later once we get into the movie, but definitely online, I'm seeing some people that are just clamoring for something bad to say about it. So I think this is more of that.
We'll get into that, because I've seen quite a few comments and I'm like, but why? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So all right. Well, then the other two articles are kind of related to Doomsday. And the first one I'm going to mention first. So Rebecca Romaine, who plays Mystique, and will be reprising her role in Doomsday as Mystique. So they're the older X-Men. Recently said at Comic-Con, because that's the other thing. San Diego Comic-Con is going on this weekend. We will obviously that'll be in the next show. We'll talk about all the news that comes out of there. But I thought this was interesting because it is kind of related. There was like rumors that they were filming Doomsday without a script, and she confirmed it. They don't have a complete script for the movie. They have a partial script and an outline, but it's not a complete script, which Marvel is famous for doing. That they have an idea and they start filming and they kind of just edit around things. So does that make you nervous at all for Doomsday?
It does. I mean, I'm already nervous about the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom. Already miffed about that. The whole multiverse thing, well documented, my annoyance with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does, because how. So not only do we not have a script for the very next movie coming out, but then they're doing that thing where like, oh, and Avengers Secret War, and it's like, oh, okay, wow, we really are just going by the seat of our pants here. Which when it works, it works. I'm
Right.
not saying it's not going to work. I'm not saying they're not going to be able to piece something together that massively entertains me. I just think there's more. There's a larger margin for error when you're coming off the script like that. We're going to hear about reshoots.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm really not quite sure how you have a saga, but you do it this way. It's like, did they get lucky with the Endgame stuff? That happened to work, although they got a little murky with the time travel stuff, but I feel for the most part, everybody's pretty happy with the way that saga ended. So it makes me nervous. It does.
Yeah, and it's funny because that was something that James Gunn kind of said. He threw a little shade at Marvel, where he did say they have a history of like filming a movie before they have a finished script, and he didn't want to go that way in the DCU. That no movie they won't begin filming any movie until they have a finished script. So, and I am going to say something about that when we get to the review. But yeah, like, it's making me nervous because it's just like, for the fact that, like you said, a lot of people, our former co-host JD excluded, weren't really happy when they announced RDJ playing Doom, because it's like, no, he's Iron Man, so this is a stunt casting. Like, why are they doing this? So you kind of hope like, oh, well, they showed him an amazing script, and that's why he was like, okay, I'll come back and do this.
Right, but
that's not it. They just backed the Brinks truck up to his Brinks truck up to his house, and he went, oh, okay, yeah, I'm back. I'll play another guy in an iron suit. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
And speaking of that, so Robert Downey Jr. over the weekend posted a little video on his Instagram, talking about a playlist he was listening to while he was reading some stuff, prepping for his movie that he's currently filming. Obviously, we know that that's Doomsday. And the two comics that were shown, first was the original Secret Wars from what is it 80 was it 85? I don't think it was that late. Early 80s.
I actually think it's like 81, something like that.
I think
early
right.
80s.
So Secret Wars #1 by Jim Shooter, and Iron Man Legacy of Doom by Bob Layton, which is a 2008 book. And in Legacy of Doom, Doom and Iron Man have to team up to save the world. And at the end of the story, Doom betrays Iron Man to Mephisto,
Sure.
and so that he could get some kind of like new power.
Yeah.
So they're the two books he was reading preparing for the role, which has now led to a lot of speculation that we're gonna have Doom and Iron Man teamed up in this movie. And is he going to play a dual role? Is he going to play both Iron Man and like, or is there just something about the duality of the characters that he has to read up? I don't. It's like I'm so confused, and I would hate that. I would so hate that to see him play both Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom as two separate characters teamed up together in some kind of battle, and Doom portrays him, and then that's what leads to Doomsday. Like, because I feel like that's what they would do.
Like the Nutty Professor. Remember that movie? The Nutty Professor wants their casting method back there. You know, when Eddie Murphy used to always play 8 or 9 characters in a movie. Like, yeah, that's not going to work here.
Such a bad idea. I hope that's not. I mean, the other option could be, because this has been rumors for a long time, because originally this is who people thought was going to play Iron Man. You bring Tom Cruise in to be an Iron Man from another universe that this Robert Downey Jr. Doom is from, and then that's who he portrays. Like, all right, fine, I'll let that slide, but don't have him play both roles, because that would just that would break me. Honestly,
it would break you. I mean, I don't know, man. They might get wacky with it. We might even see Chris Evans, Captain America, versus Captain Hydra at this point. We could, like.
So yeah, everyone just playing evil versions of themselves, fighting themselves.
Yeah, that is lame. That is lame.
So lame. Oh God, I don't know. This might be the last good MCU movie. Let's see.
Until the next one, but yeah.
You just think just because it's X-Men it's going to be great. That's not necessarily true.
You're right, because the third Fox X-Men movie would prove your point.
Yeah,
but I'm hopeful, absolutely hopeful. I'm hopeful that the success of the Deadpool franchise has taught them the right lesson.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I also don't feel like that was a movie that was filmed without a script. Deadpool Wolverine. Like, I think that
I mean, if it is, I mean, bravo.
Right.
For bringing that together. But yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about what we came here to talk about. That, of course, is Superman the movie. Oh, no. Fantastic Four: First Steps.
First Steps.
The latest release in the MCU, the first MCU movie to bring in the Fantastic Four, with Pedro Pascal and
everyone else.
And everyone else. Yeah, that's another way to say it. So let's do what we always do and talk about the numbers before we get into it too much. So as of this recording, let's talk box office first. Where is that? Here it is. They are at 118 million domestically, 100 million internationally, so 218 million, which is weird. It's an even number worldwide for Fantastic Four opening weekend. So that's really good. That's one of the biggest MCU openings in a long time. Does that mean they're gonna, make their money back? Probably. But we'll see, because let's wonder what the fans think. Let's look on Rotten Tomatoes. Right as we're doing this, it has an 80. We did mention this. in the last episode, but it's holding strong, 87% on the tomato meter out of 311 reviews, but 10,000 plus verified views has it at 93% for the popcornometer or the audience score. So looks like the majority of the people are enjoying it. We, of course, ran our scientifically proven polls over on both YouTube and on X. And of course, we asked, what did you think of the Fantastic Four? And the four options, as usual: best of the MCU. It was good, not the best. It was mid. I didn't care for it. So over on Twitter, it was mid, came in at 7.4%. I didn't care for it, got 22.2%. It was good, not the best, got 29.6%. And best of the MCU on Twitter, 40.7%.
Wow.
I was shocked by that. But if we go and look at our poll on YouTube, so the Twitter one is done, the YouTube one is still live, so you can go and answer it still if you want. It's comparable, where it was mid is the lowest, but the second lowest at 10% is the best of the MCU. Then I didn't care for it, got 30%, and 50% got it was good but not the best. Pardon me, not the best. So so people like it. Some people think it's the best movie. Some people think it was okay. Thrawn says, in the lobby for Fantastic Four right now for 6 o'clock showing.
Okay.
Have a good show and see you Wednesday. Oh,
okay.
Must be a West Coaster, because it'd be 6 o'clock there as we're doing this. You left coaster. Enjoy, Thrawn. Let us know what you thought afterwards. So that being said, I'll ask you first, sir. Coming out of the movie, what did you think? What your initial thoughts of Fantastic Four first steps?
I thought it was a really good comic book movie. I thought it was a great Fantastic Four movie. If you wanted a pre-spoiler score, I would say 8.5, maybe 8.75. I definitely have my critiques, some plot contrivances and whatnot, some nitpicks, but ultimately I really, really enjoyed it and liked what they did. Absolutely.
Okay. It's funny. Like, I'm gonna say what, of course, I went with my girlfriend and her oldest again, and of course she asked me as soon as we stepped out of the theater, what did you think? And I'm gonna tell you what I said. This was my initial reaction. I said it was good. I liked it, but I liked Superman better. I mean, and it's funny because she's like, yeah, but that's like apples and oranges. One's Marvel, one's DC, totally different movies, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but, and then I think this is an important caveat. We as human beings have a tendency to compare something we saw to what we just saw, especially if it's in the same genre of comic book movie. And it's funny because I kept thinking about that too. Like, why is it that I liked Superman better than I liked Fantastic Four? Fantastic Four is a fine comic book movie. I don't like, some people didn't like Pedro Pascal. I thought he was fine in the movie. There was no like looking at him and I could only see Pedro Pascal. Like I thought he did a fine job as Reed Richards. The ego was definitely there and whatnot. So so it wasn't anything like that bothered me, but I think I realized today, and we'll get into this more, it suffers from the same thing that all the MCU movies do, and Superman didn't suffer from. Both, like, Superman set up the DCU without feeling like it's setting up the next movie. it was a Superman story through and through, and it had a beginning, middle, and end. And you could never make another DCU movie and be satisfied with it. Fantastic Four feels like, here we go. We're setting up for Doomsday. We're putting pieces in place to get us to Doomsday. And I'm like, yeah, and it's funny because JD mentioned he on Facebook, he said that he saw the movie, and said the same thing. Like they preferred Superman, and that was like I thought about it. And like that was my reply, and he's like, I don't know about that. But he also did say that like, because he said he didn't really feel that with the Fantastic Four. He thought it was a good movie, but he also said that his son was bored with it, with Fantastic Four. Like he was shocked how much Andy didn't like Fantastic Four, but loved Superman. And I'm like, well, there you go. That's your target audience. Like if the kids don't dig it, then you are in trouble, I think. Like you can appeal to all of us middle-aged nerds as much as you want, but if you're not hooking the kids at this point, it might be a hard sell down the road. So I don't know. Like I said, it's not a terrible movie. It's I did like it, but there are things about it that are bothering me. We'll get into that. So that was our initial thoughts. If you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want spoilers, well, this is where you can cut out. Otherwise, here we go. So the movie starts off basically with it starts off with the montage of them kind of showing the origin, right? Like they do the fake TV show there. It's supposed to be, looks like the guy looks like he's supposed to be a version of Walt Disney, basically hosting some kind of talk show, and they're going to have the Fantastic Four on it. And he's talking about their origin, and they show in video clips them going on the space mission, which I appreciate. And I did see an article pointing out, like, if one thing Superman and Fantastic Four proved is people are tired of origin stories. And I do think that's true. Like, we don't need to see them fly into the rocket, get hit with the radiation and whatnot. Like, they are the Fantastic Four when the movie starts, which is how the comics start. Basically, the comic starts out, the first Fantastic Four comic, they are the Fantastic Four already. Yeah. And then there's a flashback to how they got their powers, but it's not the real focus of that story. And that's one of the things that Stan Lee wanted to do when he wrote the Fantastic Four is, he didn't want to do the typical start off with their origin story thing. Like, he wanted them to be an established team already.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that aspect of it too. Like, they stayed true to the comics in a way with that. So what did you think? Did you miss the origin story, or did you kind of like that they just skipped over it?
No, I like the way they did it, because everybody already knows it, and it's not exactly a detailed origin anyway. They went up to space, they got hit by cosmic rays, and they got powers.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that simplicity. I personally thought this was very well acted, by the way.
Yeah.
Particularly by Pedro Pascal. He really made me believe that he was Reed Richards, that he was tortured, that he didn't see the cosmic radiation coming. He didn't calculate for that. And now, because of that, they've all got powers. Ben Grimm is now a rock monster. And they even talk about, and I hope I'm not skipping ahead too far here, but obviously they tried to get pregnant and it didn't happen.
Right.
And he was, he kind of just blaming that all on himself. So, so I'm with you. I didn't need the origin story. I much more enjoyed their reaction to it.
Right.
And hitting the ground running.
Like, that's where the movie settles in, is like, he's in the bathroom trying to find something, and he's in the bedroom, iodine. Yeah. He's in the bedroom trying to find the iodine, and she's in the bathroom and saying, just wait so many seconds, and he's like, well, that's weirdly specific, because she had taken a pregnancy test.
Yeah.
And it starts out with them, she's pregnant with Franklin Richards. The ultimate MacGuffin, but I digress.
What he is in the comics.
I know. And then so that they find out they're pregnant, they're having Sunday dinner. Again, there's a definite theme throughout the whole movie of family. Like, they wanted to hammer that home, and they may have hammered it home a little too much.
Really? I don't know. I liked it. I love the dynamic between all the four characters.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of the spaceship, I don't want to gloss over this before we move on to that. My favorite part about that, the fact that they named it Excelsior, which is a great nod to Stan Lee.
Yeah.
I was really happy to hear them do that. But yeah, no, I like like Ben Grimm, The Thing, he's in the movie a lot, but he's really not like Clobbering Time Thing. His role really is different, and I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna say that, like, this movie, of all the Fantastic Four movies that have come before it, this one humanized all four characters. Like,
Absolutely.
You felt like they were real people with powers. I felt like, because here's the thing, right? Johnny and Ben have that, like, brotherly sibling rivalry relationship like they do in the comics, but when they did it they didn't have it at all in Fan Four Stick.
No.
But when they did it in the 2005 movies with Jessica Alba and Chris Evans, they made it where it was more of a prankster Johnny Storm, and it was more of a contentious, mean relationship between the two of them.
Right. Like, in all the subtle ways they improve upon that, right? And all the subtle ways that they show you they're like brothers. Like when the Thing is critiquing Robbie the Robot's sauce.
Yes.
And he dips his fingers in there. Johnny Storm dips his fingers in there, and he's like, wash your hands, dude. It's like, well, wait a minute. You just put your rock fingers in there. Okay. But then, like you said, with the other Johnny Storm, it was like, oh, he was the prankster. He was the hotshot. He was.
Yeah.
Well, no, in this movie, they actually show you that Johnny Storm is smart as hell.
Yes.
And I enjoyed that. I really did. I really enjoyed their characterizations of Sue Storm, everybody. Just the whole Fantastic Four. Robbie the Robot was great. Which, so that's where I'm at. Well, I think they did the family aspect perfect. I really did.
No, I'm saying, like, their relationship and all was perfect, and it made you feel like the lived-in characters with the relationships that were like family. But it was okay. So major spoiler. We'll skip ahead. Obviously, the Silver Surfer shows up. She says, "Your planet is marked for death." She heralds Galactus. And then she goes to fly off. Johnny chases after her, basically catches up with her in the atmosphere, and she says something, kicks him off the board. And then, like, it's funny because, like, it quickly evolves to them deciding to get back in the rocket and go meet Galactus where he is, right? And this wasn't, like, it's funny because this isn't a spoiler. It was in the last trailer.
Yep.
So Sue is pregnant at this point, like full on belly pregnant, nearing it's time for the baby to come kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they go into space, and they meet up with Galactus, and they have a conversation with him, which actually was a pretty cool scene. I'm going to say that, like, seeing Galactus kind of like sitting there, kind of like he's sitting on a throne, and and talking with them, like, that felt like that was straight out of a comic book.
Absolutely.
But of course he wants the baby, right? He wants Franklin Richards, and if you are familiar with the comics, you know exactly why he wants Franklin Richards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he even he says like that child will end my suffering, you know.
Yep.
And they say no, they leave, and then when they get back to Earth, and this was probably my first scene where I was like, ooh, like I don't know. They get back to Earth and they say they went to negotiate with Galactus. They didn't defeat him, and he said there was something he would take to spare the Earth, but the price was too high. And the press is like, well, what is it? And they said our child. So now, like, the whole world gets mad at them, and is like, oh my God, you're being selfish. You're not giving up your child to save the Earth. So I'm explaining all of this quickly because it gets to a scene where there's a bunch of protesters in front of the Fantastic Four's tower, the Baxter building.
Yeah.
And Sue comes out with and the baby is born when they're running away from the Silver Surfer after they leave Galactus. That's a weird scene. We'll get into that in a second. But it's a good scene, but a weird scene. I'll say that. But then they get like Sue comes out to talk to the protesters and like gives this speech about family, you know, about her and Johnny losing their mother when they were young.
Yeah.
And family was so important. And she was like, not only won't I give up Franklin to save you, I want to give up you to save Franklin because you're all part of my family, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, like, it's sweet, but I felt like that was hammering it a little too hard, you know, home, like the family aspect. Like, oh, okay, that's what I was meant. I had to explain all that to get to that scene. I felt like that scene was a little heavy-handed, not terrible, but it just felt like it was a little heavy to go that far. But I'm going to say this. Here's one of my issues with one of my first issues with the movie, and not necessarily the movie itself, but Reed Richards' character in the movie is, why on earth, if you're the smartest man in the universe, why on earth are you going to tell the people, oh yeah, they went at our baby, so now I'm just going to let Galactus come here and kill you? Like, wait, what? Like,
okay,
I mean, I get it, and I get it. For the movie, it creates drama. But if he's supposed to be the most intelligent man, he would know not to say that to everyone.
I guess I give him a pass in that scene because they really did just get off the spaceship. And then they were ushered, you know, right in front of the podium. So I guess I could believe that, yes, he's smart, but in that moment, he's really probably flustered and just probably not thinking his best. My problem with that whole thing, Galactus wanting Franklin, they're not going to give him up, is if I was Reed and I was the smartest guy, I would, and I know this is involving my kids, so this is a crazy thing to think as a father, but what I would think is, okay, we've got this big guy in space with his bucket helmet, and I just witnessed him fuck up another planet, so he's not fucking around. We know he can do this, and he just told us that he wants our son so that he can stop. Okay, other than damning your child to a lifetime, which apparently will be millions of years of hunger, what exactly is the downside of having your son being the new Galactus?
That's an excellent question.
So, okay, I digress. Though I get it. That's not really going to be an easy decision for a father or mother to make. So I do, you know, it's just a question I had though. It's like, why did they not at least? I know Reed mentions a little bit, and Sue gets mad at him, which I totally get. Where he's like, "Well, God, at least this is an actionable plan," you know.
Right. It's mathematical and ethical.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel I don't know, that should have been maybe at least something. Say, hey, maybe having our baby be a space god, not the worst thing for us of the Earth. But I digress. So I feel that the overhandedness they had with the family aspect that you're talking about was, I guess, really to drive home that they're not going to separate themselves from their child.
Yeah.
Because this is how important family is to them.
No, and I agree. And again, it's done to drive the plot, which I don't have. Obviously, I can look past it for that, but it just, that scene felt a little heavy-handed. And okay, so I'm trying to think, because I don't want to like go over every detail of the movie, but let's then talk about. So they go and they talk to him. Again, the scene I felt when they talk to Galactus is great. Then they're flying home, and of course, Galactus sends the Silver Surfer after them to catch them, and they have a faster than light engine, which is funny. I love that they just called it FTL. Like they didn't say faster than light; they just called it the FTL, and I'm like I figured out what the acronym was right away, but like they didn't explain that to you, and I kind of like that, because it makes it feel more real. Like, and that
they should be over your head a little bit, with
right?
What because they are very capable, in which I'm completely for. Because the Fantastic Four are capable. I love that scene, them escaping from Silver Surfer, them working together to get out of that. Because you think, oh, they're screwed. They got a black hole. Their ship is getting fucked up. But they find a way out of it, which I thought was cool.
Right, and like that scene shows each one of them is capable, and yet they're stronger because when they work together in a situation like that. Like that's what makes that scene so good, right? Like the ship is damaged, and they're in a wormhole. They do say the word wormhole, and they're trying to shoot the Silver Surfer, but like they tried to shoot, and the bullet, the laser cannon won't go straight because they're in a wormhole.
Yeah.
So, but Johnny's able to figure out how to like hit her, and it just knocks her out of the wormhole for a second. But then she's able to get back in and catch up to them. So then they have to figure out what to do, and then they realize like, oh, there's a black hole nearby. So Reed's like, well, we'll trick her into the black hole, and then she'll be stuck there at least for months.
Mm-hmm. Which wasn't months,
right? Which let's add the caveat that while all of this is going on, Sue's giving birth to Franklin, like
in space,
in space. So there's no gravity to push against. So, and like she's like telling Reed, stay with me because I'm about to have your son, and he's trying to figure out how do I save all of us. It's a crazy scene, really, but it was well done. Like I said, it shows them working together. So they do trap the Silver Surfer in the black hole, and then slingshot around the black hole because the engines, the faster than light engine gets destroyed, but by slingshotting around the black hole, they were able to get home in a reasonable amount of time. So, interruptions. Family.
Need the car keys.
So yeah. I mean, like I said, that was just I thought that was a really well done scene. It's that whole sequence.
It was packed with drama and excitement, and was very Fantastic Four to me. I mean, for sure.
So now let's get to the MacGuffin of the movie. The first MacGuffin is, while all this is going on, Reed also happened to figure out teleportation.
Yes.
And his brilliant plan, and I use the word brilliant loosely, his brilliant plan is well, we'll just teleport the Earth to a different galaxy that's within the livable zone from the sun, and Galactus won't be able to find us for like 1,000,000 years.
Yeah. I think Reed makes a lot of assumptions. And it was. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And first off, that is typical Reed Richards, right, from the comics. Like, people need to understand.
Yeah.
The idea of moving the Earth is okay to him because it gets me to my end goal. Not, well, wait, what is the total impact of moving the Earth to another galaxy? You know, is it going to be inhabitable? Is it going to have issues? You know, we're not going to have a moon, right? So are we not going to have tides? Like, there's a whole bunch of, you can't just move the Earth, but like, he doesn't care. That's his plan. And he's Reed Richards, so it's the only plan, really.
And the whole world goes along with it.
Yes.
Like, I get it, Reed Richards is the smartest, but there's got to be some other people on the Earth that are like, that's not going to work.
The Earth bands together to do this. And they are able to get these towers things built in different locations that allow them to super quick. That's going to allow them to teleport to Earth. But, I mean, it lets you know that like this. That is one of the things about this movie I kind of like too, right? Most movies, when you think about it, it's a story that takes place over a few days at most. This movie takes place over a year at least. It feels like. By the time you find, because the movie starts with them finding out she's pregnant, she gives birth, and then they do say it's a month, right? It's at least a month from them getting home after they slingshot around that black hole, or they were gone for a month in total, something like that. So, and then they had to build these towers. You assume maybe that took at least a month or so. So, like, yeah, you're looking at a good year for this whole entire story, which I thought was like, I like that idea. But of course, best laid plans, they start to turn the machine on to teleport the Earth, just as and I'm sure this is one of your issues, the contrived movie timing. The Silver Surfer shows up and starts destroying those towers. And stops them. And I did think, like, you know, like, because the first plan isn't going to work. That's how these movies always work. But it's just like, why did we go through all of that? And then, like, so then it's like, oh my God, we're done. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And they're thinking about it. That's when we have the conversation about, like, is that when we had the conversation about maybe giving up Franklin? I can't remember if it was before that.
Right. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's where he's, starting to stress out.
Yeah.
Because, and then they come up with the plan that kind of works, I guess.
Well, but the funny thing is, they come up with the plan where, like, originally I'm like, why don't they just do that? Instead of teleporting the Earth to another galaxy, just teleport Galactus far away. So.
Well, I kind of understand why they didn't think that. Because this is actually going to bring us to one of my complaints. Something I feel that is somewhat of a plot contrivance. And that is, so right, they have one teleporter left. Oh, look, it's the one in New York.
Of course.
Fancy that. And so their plan is, okay, he wants Franklin. We're going to put Franklin in this teleporter area, and we're going to bait Galactus to come get Franklin. But during all the commotion, we're going to switch him, and then we're going to teleport Galactus away, and he won't find us for 1,000,000 years.
The smartest man in the universe attempted a bait and switch on a god.
On a god.
Yes, on a space god. So go ahead.
But that's my problem. Why does Galactus ever have to leave his ship? Because that's exactly what he does. He drives his ship up to Earth. He gets out of it. Falls in the water, by the way. I thought that was funny. I don't even know why they did that, but it was funny. He like gets it, he kind of like stumbles in the water, but whatever. Then he gets up and he's walking through New York, and he sees Franklin. Now, thankfully, don't get me wrong. My complaint is, why is he even getting out of his ship? Why did he just not send the Silver Surfer to go get Franklin and be done with it? Okay, whatever. He doesn't. I don't get that, but I get past it.
Okay, I might have an explanation for that.
All right.
Right before that, so we talked about Johnny Smart in this movie, right? He figures out the Silver Surfer's language.
Yes.
And confronts her with all of these messages and talks about like you sacrificed yourself to save your world, to be the herald of Galactus, but you're responsible for killing all these other worlds, for finding these other worlds for him.
Which is a great point.
So she gets upset and leaves. So maybe he had to get out of his ship because she don't know where she went. Because she went away, which
makes sense.
Isn't true in the comics. Like, he has total control basically over the Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer can't just go where they please, because whether you're talking about the male or the female version. So, but yeah, I feel like that was the thing. Like he didn't know where she was, because that does tie in at the end of the fight. So that's why he had to get out of his ship. Which, it's funny because that is one of the things too, that's very different from the comics. Galactus doesn't need no ship, He's a giant being that floats through space, and he can shrink down to go down to the Earth, where they kind of just made him one size, just a giant flying in a spaceship. So when he got out of his ship, so he wasn't bigger than the Earth and just consumed it like he does in the comics.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of wondering if they were afraid like that was too much,
Well, I've even seen in the comics where he uses a machine to actually do it. So, I mean, I think that's a little bit better of a visual. But I will say, he does not fall for it. He stops himself.
Well, and that's, because Karen, that was one of the things Karen pointed out, and I was like, yeah, you're 100% right. So Reed is trying to do a bait and switch on Galactus, and not only that, there's a red line around the teleporter thing
designated, right
like really.
Yeah
that just felt
so, and that's going to butt up to my next complaint, which is, it's Reed Richards versus Galactus. Reed Richards is climbing up his back. He's got that thing, whatever. And then Galactus gets a hold of him and starts to pull him apart. His clothes are ripping. He's in pain. And during that scene, I'm like, you're Mr. Fantastic, dude. You shouldn't care. Like, trying to rip up Mr. Fantastic is like trying to set the Human Torch on fire or throwing rocks at the thing. It's not going to work. It's not going to do anything. But okay, so my next door neighbor, he's a Fantastic Four stan, which he loved this movie, by the way. So that I like that. But I presented that to him, and he said, "Well, with the Fantastic Four, their powers kind of fluctuate. The original, back in the 60s and 70s, Reed Richards didn't have this crazy amount of control that, he has in the more modern comics."
Yeah.
And I understand that, but, and I don't know if this is a complaint, this is just more of an interest point to me. Sue Storm is able to push Galactus with her powers. Meaning, if they're really, so to his point, if there's a power scale issue, if she's strong enough to push Galactus around with her light, then I gotta believe that this Reed Richards is strong enough to be stretched by Galactus. I mean, so.
Yeah, but I will also say this. Well, first off, she stretched herself too much doing that, which we'll get to that in a second. And second, it's a mother seeing her child being taken.
I get it.
So,
Makes
there's the
sense.
whole adrenaline thing takes over and you push yourself further than you ever could before. And we don't have superpowers, but you would assume that makes your superpowers stronger, as it would make, like, you hear stories of women lifting cars off of their kids because, they get trapped
Indeed.
underneath because of the adrenaline. So, I that's how I looked at that scene. Like, she was pushing herself to save her son. The my issue with it was the whole concept of the bait and switch, and the whole line is drawn in the cement, and it's just like really, you couldn't think. Because here's the thing, I'm going to say this too: when they switched him so early, right? Like Galactus just was a couple blocks in from the harbor in New York, and Johnny blinds him for a second with fire, and that's when they do the switch. But like, so okay, but that's when they do the switch. But like, there was all this time in the world, so I thought, oh, that's actually the trick. They don't need him to go in the center there. They turned the tower into the transporter, so he's going to grab the tower, and that's what's going to transport him. No, like, because that's what you expect the smartest man in the universe to do, to be smart enough to go, yeah, I can see Galactus figuring this out, because here's a being I don't know anything about. When I took the samples and studied him, like, I can't figure out what this guy actually is. And he was able to see things about my kid that I can't see.
Right.
So he's obviously possibly as smart as me, if not smarter. So he's not going to fall for a bait switch. So I'll let him think like, oh, he figured it out, and then grab the tower, and that's what's going to. No. And again, it's a plot contrivance so that they can have a bigger fight. You can feel like Galactus is about to take Franklin, and then they turn the transporter on, and she uses her powers and pushes him in. Reed is able to grab the baby, which I don't know why Reed didn't die from falling from that height.
Right.
But they save the baby. She pushes him into the transporter. He disappears. Well, he disappears in the transporter, and then last second starts clawing his way back out.
That looked cool.
Johnny's about to sacrifice himself to save the world. But then the Silver Surfer comes, and she's the one that actually pushes him into the transporter, and then he disappears.
Yeah.
And Sue dies. So this comes to my, like, again, I don't have an issue with the scene in the fact of what they did. I have an issue with this fact that it went on for way too long when you knew exactly where that scene was going. So Sue dies. So she falls over. And the rest of them are around her, and Reed's giving her CPR for an extremely long amount of time. Like, I'm sitting there, I actually looked at my watch. I'm like, this feels like it's going on forever, And then he's like, oh, she's gone, and they're all crying, and that's going on forever. And then the baby starts crying and reaching out for mommy. So Reed takes him and puts him on the chest, and we all know what's coming next. And you don't even have to be a fan of the comic to know, because Galactus said that kid has the power cosmic. So what does he do? He brings mommy back to life. But it felt like a good 10 minutes. I know it wasn't that long, but it felt like a good 10 minutes from the moment he started the CPR to Franklin bringing her back to life.
Yeah, it was like that Deadpool scene at the end of Deadpool 2 where for like 10 minutes he's dying,
Yes.
And he's like, oh, it's just so hard to let go. So yeah, that was funny. But I did like it. My kids didn't expect the baby to revive.
Really?
Well, 8 and 10.
Okay.
And then,
all right.
never read a comic, Fantastic Four comic in their life. So
all right, yes.
But yeah, you're right. That was a very long scene.
A very long scene for what you knew what the payoff was. That the baby was just gonna touch her and then bring her back to life. I mean, it was funny too because the baby's crying, and then he stops, and then all of a sudden her hand moves, and it's like, wait, did her hand move? What's going on? And granted, maybe they made it that long so that you could sit there and go, oh no, she was dead. It wasn't like they thought she was dead. Like,
Right.
no,
Like,
she was dead. So yeah, they saved New York, and then they're back on that show again, or they're supposed to be on the show again, and then they're sitting there, and that was something that we saw in one of the trailers. All their watches go off and say alert, and they run out. And I did think it was cute, the scene at the end where they're trying to get the baby seat into the fantastic car so they can go run off and save the day.
I've been there, man. Those fucking seats, man.
You got to run it through. I did run it through, and you got to make sure it's clicked. It is clicked. What? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's one of those scenes where
a spaceship pilot and 2 scientists can't figure out how to put a goddamn car seat in, and that's super realistic.
Yes. Yes. So yeah. Trying to think, was anything like that stood out in the movie that we haven't talked about that was like one of your something that you loved about the movie?
Well, I do love because when we did our hype train video, you talked about like, oh Don, what do you want to see? And the two things that we kind of talked about there is I said I wanted to see this great dynamic between the characters.
Yeah.
I got it. And then we wanted to see some classic Fantastic Four villains.
Yeah.
And we got that. In fact, the Mole Man was actually quite entertaining.
Yes. Ended up being a bigger role than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
They recreated the first cover scene with that creature coming out of the ground and the 4 of them fighting it. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
The only thing that stood out to me is I know this is in the beginning of the show, so I'll remind everyone, Dave, one of his critiques, I don't know if critique, that might be a strong word, but one of the things you said about this movie was you felt it was setting up the next movie. I really didn't. I felt this was a very, very much standalone movie. Now, don't get me wrong. Thunderbolts made you think, oh, okay, we saw, so knowing that we've seen the Fantastic Four Excelsior rocket in the Marvel 616 via the Thunderbolts movie, I get your point there. And then the mid-credit scene, which I don't know if you want to talk about yet, but
no, you go ahead.
Okay, well, the mid-credit scene is Sue walks in on obviously Doctor Doom, mask off. You see the mask is off, but you don't see his face.
No, because they weren't going to pay Robert Downey Jr. $1 million just to kneel there.
But that's the mid-credit
and Franklin is touching his face.
Right. Yes.
And it's 4 years later.
Was it 4 years?
Yeah.
4 or 3 years, possibly, which...
Right. So, but Franklin is, as a toddler now, he's not a baby.
Yeah. So outside of those 2 elements, which to me aren't actually in the movie, it's a mid-credit scene and another movie, I felt this was very standalone. Don't get me wrong. I do have a theory that they sent Galactus to another universe. I think they sent Galactus to the 616. And that's why they're going to have to chase him. And that's why we see him.
I feel like the teleporter is what's going to allow them to go to another universe. They mentioned multiverse in the movie, right? Like,
yes,
they wanted you to make sure the multiverse exists.
It was proven that it exists. Yes.
Right. He proved that it exists and he built a teleporter. So yes, I do think that is going to play a part in it. And I think Franklin is going to become the central character for Doomsday and Secret Wars.
I think Franklin is going to take Molecular Man's role. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or Molecular Man and Beyonder. He's going to be the catalyst for it. And then the last thing, I guess, I will mention, other than I just, despite any of the criticisms I've said here tonight, I really, really enjoyed the movie and thought it was very, very good. The end credit scene is so unnecessary.
Yeah, and that's the thing because I heard there were 2 scenes, so I waited for it, and I'm like,
Same
that was
here.
silly.
Right. I
Yeah,
did not need to see that. I could have saw that on YouTube. That'd have been
I'm
just as
shocked they
fun.
didn't flip them. I'm shocked they didn't show a
Yeah.
little cartoon intro at the mid-credit scene and
Right.
left Doctor Doom at the end. So
Yeah. Absolutely. But it was good, man. I mean, I hate to do the Superman versus Fantastic Four thing, but it is DC versus Marvel, and I did enjoy Superman more. And if someone says, "Well, why?" Because I like Fantastic Four, but it didn't make me cry. You know, it did not have as much emotional weight for me. But I mean, Superman came in with a good right cross. Um, Marvel got back up, gave a good jab. Still seems a little bit of woozy. So, but I mean, as far as DC versus Marvel here, since they came out in the same month, I mean, what else are we gonna do?
yeah,
I think DC came on top a little bit, man. I mean, Fantastic Four, not bad. I am excited about Phase 6. Um, but I feel DC still has a shot here, particularly with our revelation earlier that they don't even have the next fucking movie written yet.
yeah, and it's funny because we mentioned at the beginning, we didn't get into it. Like you had said that there's people complaining about this movie online.
Oh yeah, Tim Pool, your guy, right? You like him, right? I forgot
Yeah,
the names.
I didn't watch his. The thing was,
Okay,
I
don't.
watched the first couple minutes of his quote unquote review talking about it, and
Yeah,
then I realized this guy's never read a Fantastic Four comic in his life. So I was just like,
yeah,
all right, I can't do this
yep,
because there are people who are going to go down that road of, oh, it's woke, and it's like, no, it wasn't. There's one female lead and 4 male leads, and
yeah,
like it is so like a team movie. Sue's not a MacGuffin in the movie. Like, you know,
There's
she
no
used
ultimate nullifier, right?
yeah,
Like,
there's no ultimate nullifier. She's not like she uses her power to push Galactus into the thing, but it's Reed's plan. It's uh Johnny and all of them working together. Like there's no like, oh, they couldn't have done this without the woman feel in
yeah,
that movie at all, And in fact, if it wasn't for the woman, there wouldn't be a Franklin, and it'd be a completely different movie anyway. So yeah, I saw people just complaining about it where I feel like they didn't see it. They're basing it on the trailers, and they were just
yeah,
like, "Oh, they gave everything away, and I'll just wait till it comes out." And it's like, nah, I don't think they gave everything away. I also saw people complain there wasn't enough Galactus in the movie. Well, what more did you want from
yeah.
Galactus?
Really?
There was a scene where they confronted him and had a conversation with him, and then he came down on the planet and they fought him. Like you're not going to have multiple fights with Galactus. You're not going to
Right.
I felt like that was a weird complaint I saw from a couple people. It's like, oh, they teased us with the Galactus and barely gave him to us. Like, eh. And another critique I saw, and this goes back to something that we said talking about the movie before it came out, is there wasn't enough of Reed using his powers. And I was like, well, I mean, we got the scene with him chasing the monkey up the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
We got him in the final fight using it. And there was a couple scenes where he's like on the chalkboard, like that's what you expect him to stretch his arm. And I've said this before, it's really hard in live action to make these powers look cool, right? They've attempted it multiple times in multiple movies, and like it's really hard to make it visually look cool. And I feel like it was done on purpose. Like they just used him enough, just used his powers enough so you know what his powers are and you can see it without going overboard, And because the thing is too, like if they do a scene with him wrapping someone up, like it's something he does in the comics a lot, like, all right, then they do it again and again and again, it's going to become, oh, that's just a trope now and it's going to look stupid, right?
Yeah.
Like wait till it's an important scene where he wraps someone up, but like don't do it all the time. So So yeah, like that was a critique I've seen of the movie. So, but yeah, I think for the most part, most of the people I know that are comic book people that have seen it have really liked it. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I agree with you too. I said at the beginning, it was good. It wasn't as good as Superman, but it was still good. So
It was good.
all right, let's bring this one home. Let's tell me what's your score 1 out of 10 and final thoughts.
I'm going to give it an 8.75. I feel the movie was well acted. I felt that it was very representative of the Fantastic Four comics. I actually enjoyed the fact that, to me at least, it felt like a standalone movie. I mean, again, we all know what's coming, but that aside, I feel like if somebody didn't know any of that and they sat down and watched it, they would enjoy it as a standalone movie. And I'm excited for the next phase of Marvel. To even though it involves a Robert Downey Jr. Doom and multiverse, I'm still excited to see how this develops. So there you go.
Okay. You know what? Someone said this a while ago, and I think this is my issue: is the MCU has kind of ruined our ability to just enjoy a movie, in the sense of like we know they're always putting stuff in that's setting something up in the future. So it is hard for me to watch a Marvel movie anymore to go like, oh, this is just this. Like I'm sitting there going,
Yeah.
oh, Franklin Richards is they're setting him up. They're using this movie just to bring the Fantastic Four in so that they can be in Doomsday. So I'll give you that. Maybe I need to stop watching them like that, because I didn't feel that way with Superman, but it was also the first movie in a new universe. So yeah. That being said, I think not as high as you. I'm going to give it an 8.5. It's a good movie. They don't
Yeah.
rehash the origin, which I appreciate. It is acted well. I was afraid of Pedro Pascal was going to not feel right in the role, but he was. He did a good job of playing someone who was so intelligent. He's distracted by his own intelligence and comes off unemotional when that's not really true. It just comes off that way because he's thinking of every possible scenario. So,
Yep.
So yeah, 8.5. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Though we pretty much ruined the whole thing for you at this point. And with all that being said, let's ask that question.
What did we learn on the show tonight?
What'd you learn, Don, or do you have a recommendation, or both?
Well, I learned that if you're going to die in a movie, don't take too long to do it, or else
Oh yeah,
Dave's not going to like the scene.
exactly.
Hurry up and die, bastard. Recommendations. Just this movie, Fantastic Four. And for some reason, you're listening to the Tim Pools of the world, or don't go watch it. You will enjoy it.
It's funny too, because like he initially said he said things like Superman was going to probably be terrible, and then he saw it and said he liked it. So to him come out and say he didn't like Fantastic Four, I'm kind of shocked. I learned that you can do the show from a remote location without an issue, and things can go well. And
Good.
I also learned that yeah, I think you and I very much agree on this movie for the most part, except yes, don't die too quick long. I will recommend the same. If you haven't seen the movie yet, go see the movie, and make sure you read up on all the Comic-Con news, because we're going to try to talk about that on Wednesday. We're going to talk about anything interesting that's come out of Comic-Con that wasn't related to this movie. So we shall see. So that's the plan. We'll see what happens. Hopefully nothing else happens between then and now. And on that note, as always, boys and girls, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape caught in the door. See you next time.
If you haven't done so yet, subscribe. It really keeps this podcast alive. Smash the like button if you please. It gives us what we need. Maybe leave a comment or two. It's a really nice thing to do. And what are you waiting for? Visit our merch store.